All right. Good morning. Quick sound check. Let me know you guys can hear me. It is August the 28th, 2019. Markets here popped back a little bit since that morning write-up there that was sent out in the chat. If you guys don't see that, just scroll on back up there to about 8:37. Awesome. Appreciate that, RJ. All right, guys. Couple minutes to go. All right, cool. Um, all right, let's take a look at the markets here and kind of what the game plan for today is. It changed just a little bit here from the morning write-up just because S&Ps were down about to 2857s or so when I did the morning write-up in the first place. So what I'm looking at here now is we're gapping down $1.25 here on the S&Ps, $10 in the Nasdaq. So pretty much all across the board here, we're gapping down about 0.1%. S&Ps are down 0.04, Nasdaq down 0.13, Russell 0.10, and the Dow 0.07 here. So Nasdaq in the lead, if you will, to the downside here. But again, relatively, we're all kind of holding the lows from yesterday with the exception of the Russell. The Russell might actually, kind of depending on where we open at, end up opening through yesterday's lows because the Russell was the only market yesterday that came down and got new lows right before the end of the day there at 4 o'clock. So Russell was able to come down, sell off, get new lows on the day, and actually a little bit weaker price structure-wise here this morning. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that and see if the Russell wants to reverse kind of at some point for us here on the day. And what I'm talking about there, I'll just pull the foregrid up just so you guys can see kind of the price structure I'm looking at there, is so yesterday we sold off kind of down into our support zone here. We got signals in the S&Ps, we had signals in the Dow, we had signals in the Dow the whole way down, signals in the Russell, and then we popped up here, we had this little spike here at 135 there, and then you'll notice all the other markets here later on about 3 o'clock ended up kind of popping up and actually taking out that high. So S&Ps popped up, got new highs there, Nasdaq new highs, Dow new highs, and the Russell was unable to push through this high right here of 1465.30s. And then ended up selling off back down into and got new lows at the end of the day yesterday. So that's kind of what I'm watching for. There's the Russell, just in terms of price structure, a little bit weaker, trading 1452.80s here. Lows of the day yesterday, 1452.60s. So we could actually end up seeing a gap beneath the 1452.60s here at the open. All right. So as for the S&Ps here, I've put on one trade here so far this morning, and that is in Nadex here. I sent that out in the morning write-up as well, and that is selling the 2867 strike. Nadex will load here. That is selling the 2867 strike and buying back in the 2843. Now the 2843 is also a level I would like to purchase on the day. So it may end up being a little bit confusing. You might actually have two separate positions on for this. Two separate positions in the same strike. And again, all that's outlined in the morning write-up there. So what I'm potentially looking at here for the day is a little bit of downside range action to kind of continue this move here from yesterday. And the levels to pay attention to: 2861 50s, 2865 quarters, 2870 50s, and then all the way down here at 2842s. So on a first test of 2842s, I'm looking at longs off of that level for a rally back into about 2852s or so. And then from there, I think market can either go sideways and range bound again, or we could actually end up kind of coming down here and kind of cracking these lows, or we could rally back up and be unchanged on the day. But I think from 2842s to 2852s here, excuse me, off a first test will be a nice reaction in there, and good enough risk reward to step into a position there. The move to lead us down to 28.42s, if that is going to happen today, we're going to need to crack back under 28.6150s here this morning. We traded as low as 53.75s here this morning, and then just traded back up into 65 quarters here a few minutes ago. And coming back down now a little bit, 62.50s here. So small reactions, just kind of playing inside this range right now. If for whatever reason here on the day we're able to get up through 28.7050s, then I'm no longer going to be looking at shorts down into 28.42s and going to be watching for confirmation closes above this level for longs here that have room back up to essentially 28.95 quarters and then 29.1475s. Again, this is a really, really big stretch up here. That's not what I see happening on the day. I think we could potentially test that level on the day and kind of fake out and then kind of revert back down here under this 61.50 to 65 quarter zone and then work our way lower from there. So depending on how we trade, in which order we trade the levels on the day, will make a big difference. If we trade up to 28.7050s first and then down to 28.42s on the day, then there's a higher probability that 28.42s can actually break and we go lower. If we don't trade up to 28.7050s here this morning and we just drop straight from the open down into 28.42s and start rallying off of that, and then from that rally out of those lows, we're able to get back up here above 28.7050s, then I think we've got a nice little move to the upside that we could potentially capture on the day. So when and where and the order in which we trade the levels this morning is going to make a difference here. All right, that's what I'm looking for there in the S&Ps. In the NASDAQ here, similar situation. The levels in place from yesterday here are all still very much valid. We've traded a low in the overnight session, 75.2175s, highs of 7600.50s. So we've got about an 80-point range going in there. 7600 is a pretty decent move up here, and we're currently trading 75.50s, call it here. So we're going to be opening kind of right into the 75.46 level, and I'm actually going to add one more level in here for today, coming in at 75.58s. If we get above 75.58s here, then I'm going to kind of take a step back, let the market trade around for a bit. We could actually end up popping through that level. And then from there, we could actually get a decent little rally in the NASDAQ, but it's going to be rather choppy. You can see this action from yesterday here, basically from 75.75 down to 75.58 here. A 17-point range was rather sloppy, choppy action. So I want to let that figure itself out here. But under 75.46s here, 75.29s look good. Under 75.29s, 74.8250s here look good for the NASDAQ. If you want a long shot on the day, not necessarily a long shot, it's more probable here than the 76.8375, but a little bit more of a lotto kind of trade there with a target. I don't think we have quite the same structure that I would like to see, but if there is a strike available down here around 74.8250s in Nadex that you could sell for anywhere north of like 85 bucks, I think that is a good trade there as well. That's about a, from current prices, about a 70-point drop, 45, 18, yeah. 65, 70-point drop there for the NASDAQ, which we can most certainly do. We've got an 80-point range going into today's session already. Real quickly, I want to cover gold and crude here. So gold, I'm going to go ahead and clear drawing set in here. Gold has been on an absolute sideways market and then finally broke out in the uptrend last week here, or kind of at the end of the week there on Friday. And has so far been orderly, nice pullbacks here to the upside. And going to look for this to continue here in gold. I mean, we've had a really, really nice move here out of 1300s all the way up into 1550s currently. What I'm actually thinking this could end up doing here is kind of going a little bit parabolic and end up kind of getting a blow off top here. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow sometime, but an intraday 5-minute kind of parabolic chart there. And then from there, I think we actually might get a good fade in gold that we could potentially step into to the downside there. Otherwise, for right now, just continue to buy pullbacks here in gold. It has been on a absolute rip here. We finally broke out of this range that we were in. You can see this was just very, like, it almost looks like really orderly, kind of gap down, rally back, gap down, rally back, gap down, rally back type of action through here. So we finally broken through that, and we've got our first pullback rally, looking for the second pullback here, and then that should lead us into a new move to the upside there. Taking a look at crude here. Crude has inventory numbers coming out today at 10:30, so please be aware of that if you are looking to trade crude here. The levels in place for right now in the crude market here are going to come in at 55.73s. We've got lows down at 55.34s on the day. We've got highs up at 56.35, so we have exactly a $1 and a penny range so far on the day. Targets to the upside here, 56.78. If crude can trade up to 56.78 there on the news announcement at 10:30 and show signs of a reaction to the downside there, I think you could potentially fade crude back down into 55.73, so about a point, worth of room there for crude to move back to the downside. So auto repair team, there's a trade plan library in the Discord, and that's where I post the link and stuff like that. Morning, Jose. So that's what I'm looking for there with crude and gold. We may actually be able to put on a, depending on what crude does here after the news announcement, we may be able to put on a another containment play. So we've got one containment play on so far in the S&Ps. We just broke down again. We're trading 59.50s now. We may be able to put another one on here for crude today if the strikes line up, which I'll take a look at here kind of after the crude oil inventory numbers there at 10:30. Otherwise, that's what I've got for this morning. I'll mark up some levels here in the Russell and the Dow and share those charts in the MLT Discord for you guys. I'm also going to be adding those shared links into the morning write-up there, and going to have some more information coming out on that for you guys as well. But for right now, you guys can find it in the MLT Discord. Like I said, I posted it at 8:37 this morning. There's two Nadex trade ideas in there today, a chart, a shared link, and my thoughts and analysis on the day and the different scenarios I'm going to be looking for. So thank you guys so much for coming on this morning. I'll be back in just a few minutes for the morning power hour. Yesterday was a really nice session, was kind of walking through some of the price action and what it is I'm looking for there. And we were able to pick off a pretty decent trade. And I think we locked in, I think it was like $700 and some dollars yesterday by about 9:50 in the morning there. So decent trading session yesterday, and looking to follow that up again today. If you want to join me in the MLT Discord, there is a link in the description below. Click on that, it'll get you all the details. As always, if you're new around here, click that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed the content. And I will see you guys back in just a few minutes for the morning power hour. Take care. Have a great trading day.